Good morning, church. Now be honest. When you came into this sanctuary and you looked up and you saw this, what did you think? I just want to invite our artist. You can use that microphone there. Nina, Elder, you're amazing.
Thanks.
What do you think?
Wow, you all are really good at cutting things out with scissors. It was amazing to put together. It's very large, and as promised, it looks like a piece of supreme pizza. But I think my main reflection on putting it together was just, at first I was overwhelmed. I had these trash bags full of the shapes you had made, and I could tell some of them were so intentional, and some of them were such just a shape of release, of frenetic cutting, and thinking, how do I put all this together? And it, you know, I'm an artist, that's what I do, I put weird things together. But what was amazing was, by the time I was about halfway through, it stopped being a ton of small pieces and it started being one thing. And for any of you that have ever baked a cake or built a house, or a lot of us were at the symphony last night, listened to a symphony where there's a lot of small pieces, but then it comes together. This is definitely one thing now. I mean, you could yank on it and it might fall apart, but I don't know, it was just really very special to examine each piece and think someone that cares and someone you know, that is willing to show up also released this into this grand mess. And I thought, what an amazing symbol for this community of people that are like releasing into a togetherness. And I'm just so thankful for all of you in the experience. So cheers to all of you for what you made.
Thank you, Nina. You know, this morning, as we begin worship, I confess that I'm feeling shaken after yesterday's events in Minneapolis and what I saw on the videos as Alex Preddy being shot and killed by an ICE officer. Right now, I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to do. So I'm trying to focus on what is within my power and be mindful of what is not within my power. And on this very cold morning, this day, I turn to this community, to the God that I experience in this community through the love and care and support and solidarity that I feel here. Today, I just feel a very deep gratitude for you. So thank you for being here, either worshiping on the live stream or in this sanctuary. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you're welcome here, and I'm so glad that you're here. It is within our power to thoughtfully and faithfully lead and plan for the health and vitality of our church. And today that will be our focus. Today is annual meeting Sunday, so over the next hour and a half, does anybody really know, is there a lottery going? We'll worship together, we'll discern and vote on the kind of church, the way that we hope to show up in this coming year. Now, our worship bulletin are the first couple of pages of the annual report. Some of us can access that on our phones, or we printed out a copy of the annual report. Excuse me. We also have a limited number of worship bulletins that are available. Hopefully, if you needed that, you've got one. If you need a bulletin, raise your hand and the ushers will see that you get one. And if you're worshiping on the live stream right now, and if you are a member of First Congregational Church, we want to make sure that you can participate fully. So if you haven't already, please switch over to Zoom. The link should be on the screen there. That way we'll be able to register your attendance and your vote. You'll also be able to share your comments if you wish. Let's just take a deep breath together. Feel the energy of this space, the spaces where you're worshiping, if you're worshiping online. We believe that in our church, our faith is expressed in music, in ritual, in the words that we speak, in the ways that we listen, the conversations that we have, the decisions that we make, the respect and trust that we have in each other. So friends, let us worship with gratitude, openness, and curiosity. Please stand in body or spirit as we join in our responsive call to worship.
In this moment of gathering, we remember the people and stories that shaped this church through the years and carried us to this day.
Rooted in courage, welcome, and justice, we listen for the call of this moment.
Come, beloved community, held by our past, alive to the present, open to what's possible.
We begin this new church year with intention, joy, and love. With the help of God, we seek to be the church for today. seated. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry it on your own. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry it on your own. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. Let us pray. Kind God, before we are voters or planners, before we are members or leaders or staff, we are your people. We gather today drawn not by habit alone, but by hope.
We give thanks for the church, for prayers whispered and spoken aloud, for bread broken and hands extended, for children welcomed, questions honored, and faith shaped in community rather than certainty.
We remember those who came before us, those who devoted themselves to teaching and fellowship, to shared meals and shared lives. May their courage steady us, and their faith remind us that church has always been a living, breathing experiment in love.
We acknowledge, O God, that it is easier to maintain than to imagine, easier to protect than to risk, easier to meet than to be transformed. When fear or fatigue creeps in, return us to our first love, the sacred work of loving all that you love.
Bless the conversations we will have today, the listening and the deciding, the disagreements and the hopes. Let our words be honest, our spirits generous, and our choices shaped by care for the most vulnerable among us.
And send us from this place, not just as a church with a past to honor, but as a people with a future to live into, devoted to love, committed to justice, open to wonder, faithful in community.
We offer this prayer in gratitude and trust, believing that love is at work among us, calling us together, shaping us into a church for today and tomorrow.
Good morning. My name is Rich Law. I am the moderator for a few more minutes. Before we start with the business side of things, well, first off, I apologize in advance for looking down a lot if I don't make good eye contact with you. I decided to kick it old school this morning and use paper instead of telephone. So, a special word of thanks to staff, especially Rachel and Emily, for pulling all this together. I get to stand up and say a lot of stuff, but the real meat and potatoes of this was organized by Rachel, Emily, and a handful of other dedicated volunteers. And I would love to know how many hundreds of emails they received this week. So, Rachel and Emily, thank you so much for pulling this together. For our online folks, please try to make sure your name is visible next to your beautiful face. We'd like to see all the faces visible online so that when we do a count, somebody back there who's managing the online can see you and tally your vote. We want your vote to count this morning. So I am calling this annual meeting to order, First Congregational Church. As we have done in the past annual meetings, our first order of business is to establish what set of rules we're going to follow. And I'm going to call on John, our parliamentarian.
Good morning. My name is John Stefanik, and as allowed by our bylaws, I'd like to make a motion that this meeting
John,
be...
can you use the microphone, please? We need it for the live stream especially. You can use that one right there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. That sounds so good, thank you. My name is John Stefanik, and as allowed by the congregation bylaws, I would like to make a motion that this meeting be governed by Robert's Rules of Order. And I need a second.
Jerry White seconded.
Okay.
All those in favor of going by Robert's rules this morning, raise your hand and say yes. Yes. Opposed? Abstain? And just to show you that anyone can do this job, I went out of order saying Robert's rules would be our ordering business. So we now need to establish a quorum. Our constitutional bylaws state that 10% of members need to be present here, and I was given a paper that says 111. Did that include online? No, it didn't. So 111 in person and 34 online. So a quorum is established. When we get to the portion of comments, if you have a comment or a question about a motion that's been made, or when it's time for congregational comments, for an accurate record, would you please state your first and last name, even if everybody knows you, so we have an accurate record. The next order of business is we need to approve the minutes from our annual meeting a year ago. Chris.
Good morning, I'm Chris Carlson. I'm currently an acting secretary for council. I move that we approve the minutes from the January 26th, 2025 annual meeting. I've been dealing with these two numbers back and forth.
All right, so we have a motion, and when a motion comes from a standing committee of the church, we do not need a second. If a motion comes from the floor, we do need a second. So in this case, it's coming from a council member. We do not need a second. Are there any questions or comments on adopting the minutes from a year ago, 2025 annual meeting? Any questions online? None. All those in favor, raise your hand and say yes. Yes. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Chris. Next up are my comments, moderator comments. So this morning, I too was struck by what happened yesterday in Minneapolis, and awful thing to watch. So this morning I'm missing my friend Sky Forrester today. I'm missing him helping us conduct our church business in a sacred way while keeping an eye and heart on our current events. So we're gathering today to worship and conduct important church business. Compared to the tragic events in Minneapolis yesterday, maybe for you, church business doesn't seem quite as important as it might have a few weeks ago. For me, how we conduct our church business and what we decide in here today can set the stage for how we will show up in the days, months, and years to come. I think that this is sacred work. I want to thank all of you for your support of the church, your financial gifts, of helping us meet our 2026 budget, your efforts at contributing to all the good things we've done in our ministry efforts, and in taking care of each other. This is one small example. I think it's a lovely testament to all hands pitching in. Here's just a sampling of what our volunteers, members, and staff have done and continue to do with your council's support. We actively look for ways to support our amazing church staff. We do not hide, minimize, or downplay what we believe as a church, who we are, and what we support. Why would we do that? We do our best to show up proudly for everyone. We continue to honor our deeply held commitments to open and affirming just peace and creation justice. We proudly support our new land acknowledgement and have taken steps to actively support Indigenous people. We continue to take good care of each other formally and informally with our ministry efforts. We continue to support our amazing music program, wonderful programs, new robes, updates and maintenance of our organ and other instruments. We publicly celebrated our rich 150-year history in a way that honored all those and all that came before us. We've hosted engaging and relevant classes, speakers, and events for our church and community. We continue to support rich and diverse faith formation offerings each Sunday morning. We continue to take good care of our young children and youth with Sunday school, youth group, and meaningful mission trips. We've maintained proactive vigilance and security led by an all-volunteer team. Our safety team has instituted a safety plan and procedures for what we can do quickly in the event of an emergency. We continually maintain and make improvements to our worship space, our library, and our grounds. Over the past 3 years, we've made significant improvement on how we deliver our church programming in person and electronically. Each month, we continue to add members. We're growing bit by bit each month. Subsequently, we've added a second worship service. Financially, we continue to take good care of ourselves long term via the generosity of those contributing to our 7 Pillars Fund, gifts and bequests, our investments, generous pledging, careful planning, and continual oversight. Behind the scenes, your council has been doing its best to continually support all areas of our church. I am grateful for each council member and our collective efforts. Right now, however, the only concerns I have to do with our community and nation. In our current political trauma, how will this church continue to show up? I believe that we have the people, skills, and heart to continue speaking up for the principles of our faith. Rejecting, speaking up, and defending all those who are being bullied and attacked. Rejecting racism in all forms. Fighting for the powerless. Caring for the poor and unhoused. Being generous with our resources. Connecting with our community. Protecting the environment. Loving our neighbors as ourselves. Helping others register to vote and showing up for voting. Partnering with others who share our hopes and values, and being the church that so many need right now. But the church may need to be more than just speaking out. Our church needs to be willing to organize, show up, participate, and partner. This important work cannot fall on just a few shoulders. It cannot fall on Leanne's or Josh's shoulders alone. It's too much. It cannot be the sole responsibility of one council member, a moderator, or a committee leader. When this church unanimously decided to become a Just Peace church, we all did that. All of us took that on. If peace building is going to be at the core of who we are, we can all get involved with something and contribute what we are able. Our nation and our community needs a church just like us more than ever. Thank you for your support in being the church. Okay, congregational comments. Now is a time, an opportunity for you. If you have a question, a general question about the state of the church, or a comment, you may come forward and speak at one of the microphones. If you have a question about the budget, I'd like you to hold off on money questions until after Eric has made his motion and has presented his report. So, do we have any comments or questions from the congregation, either in person or online? Anything online? Okay, no comments. Thank you. Thank you, church.
For the past 3 years, I, Kathy White, good morning, it has been a great pleasure to bring a little light to the indispensable role of our tireless volunteers. They play a huge part in the congregation. Much of their work, I say there, you know who you are, is behind the scenes. They're quiet, they're unassuming. Often a church event will unfold without a hitch, or a committee will tackle an issue and resolve it quickly, or a visitor will come and comment on the beautiful chancel, or the Christmas trimmings, or the choir's performance, or the quality of the morning coffee and snacks. That's all the volunteers. In this church, volunteers minister to each other. They sit with one another in times of sadness and joy. They pray for one another. They provide intellectual topics to explore with one another. They study together. They make music together. They watch movies together. They talk about sex together. They voluntarily feed one another, and then they clean up after one another. Volunteers plant, sow, reap, and share, be that money, vegetables, or ideas. They manage human resources, land acknowledgement, immigration issues, safety drills, the furnace, the audiovisual console. They manage animals on Palm Sunday, children at Faith Formation Camp, and nativity reenactments on Christmas Eve. It's all about the volunteers. You'll see their names and their accomplishments throughout the annual report. If you see them in the hallway or in the founder's room, stop them and thank them personally. It is the intricate network of volunteers combined with our outstanding staff and our amazing pastors that create this haven of optimism and goodwill at 20 East St. Vrain. So keep coming and keep volunteering and keep being grateful for this. It's a rarity and it's an enormous blessing. It's my job this morning to honor and say goodbye to some council members and also to our parish nurse. Is Nancy Lippincott here? We will speak of her in just a moment. But first, I'd like to call up Alyssa Webb and our moderator, of course, Rich Law. Good, it's good. Well, come a little closer to me. I'll start with Alyssa. Alyssa is council member for education, and she is so incredibly hardworking, both here at church and in her professional work as an educator and as a mother of her two wonderful sons. Alyssa worked tirelessly on council, always keeping us up to date on the activities at the educational facet of the church, and helping us puzzle out the best possible solutions to church-wide issues that came up. She is a powerful advocate for children and families, and offered often possible solutions that encompassed all sides of many of our issues. She has a quick wit and a kind manner. She is brave and brilliant. Please join me in and now Rich. Oh gosh. I thought I'd do one of those, R is for Rich. Okay. He's particularly in favor of that. R is for reliable. Dealing with every item that came to his attention in a timely manner and always in accordance with the church's bylaws. I is for inventive. Rich always searching for solutions that are inclusive and imaginative, often outside the box. C is for constant. He never missed a meeting and was calm and even-tempered. And H is for high-minded. Rich always follows the rules, strives for consensus, and takes his responsibility as moderator very seriously. L is for loyal. Rich loves FCC, and he works tirelessly for the good of the church. A is for amiable. Rich always greets you with a warm smile and a strong handshake. And W is for wise. Rich guided council with a deliberate, considerate, and well thought out set of personal principles that always reflected his deep desire for peace and justice. Let's hear it for Rich. Since I gave Alyssa the flowers, I thought I should give Rich a little something. He and his wife are going to have a new addition to the family soon after he leaves being the moderator, a new puppy. Here's a little gift for the pup. Good, 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 good. Thanks so much. And now Nancy Lippincott. Nancy is stepping away from her role in the church as parish nurse. Nancy has always moved forward with a genuine sincere desire to simply be of help. For her, being known as the parish nurse was clearly not a task or a title. It was a calling. Her care flowed from who she was and not just what she did. And even now, as she steps away from this role, we know she will continue to offer her wisdom anytime she senses a need. We offer our gratitude for her service with offering the age-old symbol of nursing, the Nightingale lamp. The candle lamp, the premier symbol of nursing, represents the lady with the lamp, Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale cared for wounded soldiers often at night during wartime and was always known to carry the light from one patient to another. It calls to mind the light of knowledge, compassion, and dedication to care. Thank you, Nancy.
Since we didn't feel Kathy should be talking about herself, which she never does, I am going to honor Kathy today. Lots of little pieces here, sorry. Kathy, what a perfect person you have been to be the council member for care and fellowship. This little dish is heart-shaped, and when you think of Kathy, she does everything with heart. Yes. I see. There you go. You exemplify, or this dish exemplifies the heart that you bring to everything that you do. And I have here little stones that have words on them. You inspire everyone around you to bring their heart too. You dream big, as is demonstrated by our wonderful new library. You are mindful of the faith that guides us in every decision you make and every report you write. In all you do, you model respect of others and inspire a strong sense of unity among all of us. It's been a joy getting to know you this year.
We just wanted to add a quick note about the library. The church library project started, it stretched out over all of 2025, and now that we've welcomed in the new year, just a few loose ends we wanted to tie up today. We began with thanking the 2 volunteers who coordinated the entire project, Kathy White and Becky Weiss. You brought such vision and passion to the library reimagining. You took input from our staff, from Emily and Rachel, from volunteers like Sid. Every project needs a Sid. Let's give him a hand. Vice Moderator Dave Morgan served as project manager. Bruce Latimer was the master carpenter when he remade the window frames, assisted by Dave Breibach. Brian McCarthy was a furniture assembler par excellence. Local muralist Lori DePasquale counseled the committee to be bold with their paint choices, and the painting crew made it happen. Kathy tells me that it was a very proud day for the committee when former librarian Jeannie Tate visited the space and so kindly gave her overwhelming stamp of approval. She especially loved the children's section, Becky Weiss's special project, and assured the committee that Kathy Beck would be mighty pleased. Just one more request from Kathy and Becky. They said that after rearranging the books and then rearranging them again, They both came away from the project with such respect for the depth of intellectual wisdom to be found among the library stacks, from ancient Bible references to contemporary Christian writers, from world religions to saints and poets, from creation justice to peace and justice, and so much more. So we invite all of you to spend some time in the coming months just browsing through the books in your church library. You can sit in one of those comfy, cool chairs, turn on the new lights, grab a few selections from the bookshelves, and feast on all that has been lovingly curated over more than 60 years. Our library is named for previous and very formative former pastor James Gregg. You'll see his photo and his wife's photo hanging on the wall in there. Take a look, give them a nod. Lots has changed since they set up that first rendition of a church library, but they set the congregation on its course, and we continue on.
In this moment, we take a moment to honor those within our congregation and those connected to it who have passed away this last year. Donna Van Hook. Nora Gustafson. Bill Polson. Jay Martin. John Beavers. Joe Pickle. Pat Steffens. Kathy Krebs. Owen Gerbig. George Woodhead. Sky Forrester. Eleanor Law. Corey Carlton. Frank Jopp. Dorothy Krim. David Doman. Sally Babcock. Nancy Forkey. You may be seated. I'm going to speak a little bit before you, Eric. Normally, when I invite to the offering, there'll be an offertory following my words, and we'll might sing something, we might listen to something. Today, we're going to listen to the beautiful voice of Eric Wright, our council treasurer. And so, after I offer the invitation, the plates will be passed while he speaks, so you can know what you'll be getting to. This church aims to use its funds to support all the work that we do here, to support the community surrounding us, to do good work in the world. So I invite you, my friends, to participate in the work that we are trying to do together collectively as we pass the plates today. Ushers, you may come forward, sing us a song, Eric.
No, I won't actually do that. Good morning, friends. I'm Eric Writing as Council Treasurer. This morning, I'll review with you an outline of how the budgeting process works in our church, something most of you already know. Review the 2025 budget and how we've done financially this year. Then, I'll discuss the proposed 2026 budget and our overall financial position and answer any questions you might have, with a vote on that budget to follow. Overall, The church is quite sound financially, thanks to your ongoing support. So, how does the budgeting process work? In the fall, staff and committees submit their budget requests for the next year to the treasurer, which is, by the way, a big task, especially for staff who have their fingers in every single pot. The treasurer then creates an initial budget based on those budget requests, and then the annual appeal begins. And there's Zoom budget meetings describing the budget online in November and again in December. In early January, council meets to create the final proposed budget that we're going to vote on today. Some of the numbers are changed from the first two budget meetings because we get new information during those several months. Council makes some decisions based on what the pledged amounts were in total for the year. And also, often we don't have the Human Resources Committee recommendations for salary and benefits entirely finished by that December meeting, but we do by January. So then we have the third Zoom meeting discussing the final budget, and then we have today's annual meeting followed, or including a vote on the budget. So let's begin with the 2025 financials last year. Thank you. I'll direct your attention to the far right, which is the budget we had for the 2025 year. And at the bottom, you notice that we anticipated having over $100,000 shortfall between what we anticipated spending and what we anticipated receiving. However, looking at that top line, in actuality, we got more than $60,000 in gifts, including pledges that came in after the pledge season, more than we were expecting. That is incredible. Also, we had lower expenses. Committees didn't quite spend their budget, but more some of the anticipated expenses like utilities were less than we thought. I think it has something to do with the LED lighting. So that we ended up the year only $12,000 short of what the original budget was, instead of $112,000. Indeed. All right, so next slide we already have. Well, next slide we need to go on to. Hello, next slide.
It went to the next one.
Oh, it did. No, it didn't. Looking for the MGNO slide. I'm sorry. Where are we?
MGNO.
All right, well, anyway, that's the operating budget. I didn't go over all the operating budget things, so sorry. So we've received, as I said, more than $60,000 than we were expecting. As you'll note, salaries are the biggest, salaries and benefits are the biggest portion of that.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
This is the MGNO slide. Do you want to go back to the other?
Well, what I wanted to do, actually, I said all I was going to say on this slide. I wanted to go to the next slide, which is the MGNO slide.
There we go. That's it.
What?
That's the MGNO
That's the
slide.
What? Why can't I see that? Okay, there. Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay.
All right. The problem is that I'm looking up at the prompter, and it's different than on the screen. There we go. All right. Live television here, folks. Okay. The MGNO budget is about 10% of the total budget. You'll note the biggest line items there are basic support at $35,000, which is almost all going to the Rocky Mountain Conference. 85% of that stays in the conference for the local conference stuff. 15% goes up to the national. And local community support. Westside Cares is broken out there because that's a special thing that we do every year. That local community support is what the MGNO committee decides on, giving grants to multiple different community organizations. And for this year, we ended up with $2,741 left over that will go into their reserves that they can spend in later years. Go on to the next slide. Thank you. This is capital funds. Now, the capital expenditures are not, what we define as capital expenditures is just anything that costs $2,500 or more, is not part of the budget we're voting on today. That comes out of a separate pot of money. And that pot of money is from people who have left endowments for the church. Some people have done that while they're still alive. Thank you very much for those folks who are doing that and who are planning to do that. If those people, when they wrote their wills, did not specifically say that the corpus, the original amount that they gave to the church, could be spent, then our accounting firm that has done our audit has said that needs to just be kept in perpetuity. So that's what that $372,000 at the top is. That's the original amounts that people have given over the years, some of them from decades ago, to be used for capital expenses, because they said in their will, we want this to go for capital projects, which includes maintenance. A lot of it goes for maintenance. So we can't touch that, but the money that comes from investing that amount of money is what we can spend, and that's down at the bottom. We got $25,000 more than that in dividends and interest, and that goes into the pot to be spent every year because we always have more than $25,000 worth of expenses. Some of the bigger expenses are listed there in the middle. I'll let you read those. Because, of course, that was more than what we got in dividends and interest. We did spend $43,000 from the gains on those original endowments. And the balance that we still have, that was money that came from capital appreciation of those endowments, still have over $500,000. So you can see when you look at the 372 at the top and the $564,000 at the bottom, the miracle of compound interest. All right, moving on to the next slide. Okay, under Robert's rules, we have to do the motion first and then I get to discuss it, so that all my discussion about the budget comes after the motion, which I will now make. I move that we approve the church budget for 2026 as presented at this annual meeting of the congregation. And of course, it doesn't require a second, as we've just heard. All right, now we're on to the operating budget. Thank you. As I was saying before, the biggest part of the budget, 62.5%, is that top part under personnel. The ministry areas you see next, core resources, taking care of the building, more minor maintenance that doesn't come out of the capital funds, for instance. General administrative, just keeping the lights on and keeping everything running and supporting all the committees and so on, is at $118,847. And then mission giving and outreach is the bottom two. Outreach and mission giving are actually two separate things. Outreach includes just peace, advocacy, ministry discernment, and basic support to the conference and the national. And the mission giving part is the part that the committee decides on giving out grants to things. And those last two together are 10% of the total budget. You also note at the very top, in the title, this budget is 4% more than last year's. And really it looks very much like last year's budget. Moving on. So this year in pledges we received $822,500. We're anticipating that we will receive, or we will realize, $160,000 from other sources, investments, trust distributions, 7 pillars, the money that's given, that's in 7 pillars, the Pikes Peak Community Foundation has that, and they decide, they have a committee that decides how much each of the organizations that contributes to the Pikes Peak Community Foundation will receive in a distribution that year. And so we had to make an estimate of that. It's based on how well the market's done in the previous 3 years. But in total, we anticipate total income, as you see there, of $983,000. Our total expenses in the budget, not including capital anything, is a bit over $1 million, $1,050,000 basically. The difference is about $67,000. So we're in the red by $67,000 in this budget, which I'll explain in the next slide. A lot of that's inflation. Inflation rate's 2.7% last time I looked at it recently. In addition, we're increasing some staff compensation. That's just a matter of justice and equity. We have a really wonderful human resources committee that updates the job descriptions for each position and then compares those to a survey of nonprofits about what people are paying. I just want to make sure that we are staying well within what's reasonable, and that people, as they advance in their experience, their years with us, move up their salary schedules. So that accounts for some of the difference as well. Next slide.
I think they already went to it.
Oh, they already went to it. Oh, sorry, back one. Okay. So this budget will become balanced by using surplus from previous years, if we need to. You'll recall from one of the very first slides, in 2025 we received about $65,000 more in contributions than we anticipated receiving. And our difference here is $67,000. So we will see. But if we need to, we will spend money from the surplus from past years, and that will yield a balanced budget. This year we did not use any of the MGNO reserves to pay for part of the MGNO part of the budget, so they continue to have about $21,000 in reserves. Now the next slide. So how much, what do we have here in terms of the overall assets? In the general fund, plus our investments, you can see there at $952,000. That doesn't include $128,000 we've already received in 2026 pledges, people who've prepaid. Mission Giving Outreach has that $21,000. Endowments for capital projects, when you include everything together for capital, $937,000 about. And in trusts, another nearly $1 million. So as you can see, we are in really good shape financially. If we have to use that $67,000, that's a small portion of what we actually have invested. So, are there any questions? Online? No?
All right, no questions, no comments. All those in favor of the motion and adopting the 2026 budget, please raise your hand and say yes. Yes. All opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Congratulations. And thank you, Eric, for all your work on this. This is hard work. Honorable. So another piece of business for us. Next year, in 2027, our lead minister, Leanne, is planning on taking a sabbatical. A sabbatical is something that is in her contract with the church. Congratulations, Leanne. Council has already approved of Leanne taking the sabbatical next year. It will be from April 5th through August 8th. That's 4 months. So 3 months of sabbatical plus 1 month of vacation, paid vacation time. To help pay for the added expense of this sabbatical, Leanne would like to apply for a clergy renewal grant. This grant will help fund Leanne's expenses and the added expense to the church. The clergy renewal grant people ask church congregations to vote on the grant application because they want to see strong congregational support for the pastor. They see the vote as one way that support is demonstrated. For the application process, Leanne will be recruiting some folks in our church to assist her in the grant application work. So to start this process, we as a congregation need to approve of her applying for the grant. And we have done this very thing before with other ministers. So I move that we approve our lead minister, Leanne Bryce, applying for the clergy renewal grant for her sabbatical, August 5th through April 5th through August 8th of 2027. Sure. Thank you, Jim White. Thank you, brother. It doesn't require a second, but I'm glad you're there. I'm glad you got her back. Are there any questions, concerns that Leanne just isn't working hard enough? All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and say yes. Yes. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Tom.
Good morning. I'm Tom Healy, outgoing co-chair of the Leadership Cultivation Committee. The Leadership Cultivation Committee submits the following slate of candidates for the Church Council and the Leadership Cultivation Committee. For 3-year terms on the council, for moderator, John Veen, for council member for education, Liz Matney, for council member for care and fellowship, Deborah Benting, and for council secretary, Chris Carlson, who is fulfilling the remainder of the previous secretary's term that will conclude at the end of this year, 2026. And for 3-year terms on the Leadership Cultivation Committee, Terry Sheffield and Ron Blund.
Okay. Do you want to bring those folks up now, or do you want to wait until after the vote?
I think they come up afterwards.
Afterwards. Okay. We don't need a second on the motion. Are there any questions? All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and say yes. Yes. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Could those folks who have just been elected come forward, please? So we all can see those faces and you can see the gratitude in our faces. Just the new officers for right now, if you could please stand in front of the steps. Together there in the middle, please. Thank you, thank you. As I say your name, can you raise your hand so everybody knows who you are? John Bean, Chris Carlson, Liz Matney, Deborah Benting, Rob Lund, Terry Sheffield. Yes. Now, thank you. I'm so excited to serve with you and grateful that you've accepted this position. I invite forward Rich and Kathy and Alyssa to do a official handoff of name tags. You know, if you're new on council, you get a special name tag. Sorry, LCC folks. No special name tag for you. Good, good, good. And now, could you be joined by those who are continuing in leadership on council or LCC. Please come forward and stand with them. Is that baby going to be on LCC? Yes. Good. Do we have everybody? Congregation, these are the beautiful people who have been called, who we have called to serve and lead this congregation. I invite everyone to rise in body or spirit. And I have a question for you, the congregation. Do you, members and friends of this congregation, affirm these leaders as volunteers who need your support, your participation, and your appreciation, caring, and concern? If so, please respond, we do. We do. And leaders, we're so grateful for your willingness to take on the responsibilities of leadership. We affirm your calling and vow to support your ministries in every way that we can. We encourage you to take care of yourselves as you take care of us. The ultimate responsibility for our church lies with all of us, for this is our home, our community. Thanks be to God. Amen. You may return to your seat.
At the conclusion of this worship and meeting, the new officers will begin their terms. So if there's something you didn't like about my presentation, call John Bean late at night, any time of day, just whenever. Just give John a call. Sorry, John. I'm here for you. Having conducted our business, I would like to make a motion that we conclude our 2026 annual meeting. All those who are in favor of the motion and want to conclude this annual meeting, please raise your hand and say yes. Yes. Opposed? Abstain? I think the motion carries. So we are officially concluded.
enter this new year shaped by love and gratitude.
As we listen, discern, and make decisions together, may Spirit guide us with wisdom, courage, and humility.
As we look to the year ahead with all its hopes and uncertainties, may we trust one another in the work that is ours to do.
May we go from this place renewed in purpose, united in love, and committed to being church for each other and for the world. Amen.